It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Level 2 podcast episode. I believe this episode 7, if I remember correctly.
You're right.
At some point, we're probably going to lose track, but I think 7. We've counted up to 7 so far.
Yep.
My name's Keegan. I am one half of Level 2 Gamers. I'm joined by the other half, Mr. Tom.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going? That was a weird transition, I didn't know what I was going to say there.
I was waiting for you to finish.
Yeah.
It took a while.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Hey, that's what she said. So as usual, what have you been up to? You're a little sickly today. Let's start with that.
I'm sick. But we only get 1 day a week to do this. And
Yeah, he texted me yesterday. I was like, no.
Yeah.
You can't get sick on Tuesday. I was sick a few Tuesdays ago.
We need a backup podcast.
Yes.
Is what we need. We discussed this already.
Yes.
We need a backup one just for incidences like today where I am under the weather quite considerably. Keegan is doing pip cheerio.
Dude, I'm
fine.
fucking fantastic.
And yeah. But yeah, I'm okay. I'll be all right.
What have you been up to last week? Do anything fun?
I did. I got a gaming experience that blew my mind so much that I don't think I felt.
You want me to do it, and I refuse to.
Yeah, we've discussed this at length. You're not doing it. That's okay. But yeah,
he really wants me to. When you hear the name, you'll know why I'm not doing it. But he really wants me to do it.
Resident Evil 7, a beginning hour, the final demo, midnight demo
In VR.
Mm-hmm. In VR.
I would love to see your reaction to that, just sheer fact of like.
The first time was very unnerving. Honestly, the thing that scared me the most to begin with was locomotion. I was worried about throwing up.
Yeah.
But they ease you into it very well. So they give you this kind of tutorial area to get used to the motion.
You don't get spooked.
So you don't get the spoops. And also the controls, as far as like how far you can change the settings, are fantastic. So like they let you change the angle incrementally of how far you want to turn if you do it that way, or they have the smooth, which is what most people prefer in that. But you got to have your legs to play with the smooth. And then they just like there's just a whole bunch of comfort settings, and they're all great.
Which is great because granted we're still kind of in the first wave of VR, but it also makes me feel good that people are actually looking into these type of things. And
right.
So like
because no game can become unplayable quicker than a badly formatted VR game.
Yes, and we both have had experiences with that where just like
I still haven't touched Robinson. I played 20 minutes of it. It looks great, but I'll never know until they fix those controls.
Yep.
So I was really happy to see not only a VR game do it, but basically at this point the VR game do it.
So, I mean, obviously it's the demo, but it's the same demo that is non-VR, correct?
It is. So what happened was they released the kitchen demo, which is basically just a tech demo.
Which was on the demo disc.
That was on the demo disc. It was
PSVR.
also what they were showing off before, like in all the,
That's what Sarah played. If you follow us on Facebook and or Twitter, when she got spooked, that's what she was playing.
She got real scared and snapped her headset off.
Yes.
But this is the other demo, and this is a beginning hour, which is, basically it's kind of supposed to be the first hour of the game.
Yeah,
hence the name. It's not. I don't think it will be. I think it might be close to it, but I don't think... I don't even know if they're going to have this section in the game, to be honest. I feel like this was almost made entirely in response to PT, which was the original demo for Silent Hills.
That you can't buy anymore.
You can't buy it anymore, but people will sell their PlayStation with it on for hundreds of dollars.
Which is illegal.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. You can't because you don't own that. It's tied to that person's account, and Sony is not allowed selling of accounts. So you're technically selling the account when you sell the PlayStation if the account's still logged in.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a big controversy right now.
Interesting.
What really sucks is people that upgraded to like you, PS4 Pro, and may not have had the
it transferred.
I was gonna say, but if they forgot to back it up, or if they screwed it up, they can't.
It's actually a really easy way to transfer from the old one to the PS Pro. It's very similar to if you've ever done a data migration on MacBooks. It's exactly the same. You basically plug them in with a connection cable, and you say, "Okay, go," and it just does everything.
I had to do the upgrade to internal hard drive, so I had to do a full backup of my.
That would be a bit different. Yeah,
it's the same system,
but for whatever reason, this one worked great, and PT is still on there.
Ethernet?
I believe it was Ethernet.
Ethernet.
Yeah, it was Ethernet.
Okay.
I just happened to have one kicking around, so it was nice.
Well, you have quite a few.
It took about half an hour.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Considering you had, 500 gigs?
I had quite a few things on there. Yeah, I was topping it out, so that was pretty good.
Yeah. So, Resident Evil 7.
So, Resident Evil. So PT, as everyone knows, when that came out, that was quite the quite
caused a stir.
Shock to the system. Yeah, no one had seen horror done quite that well for a long time. And then, of course, the reveal of it being Silent Hills. But the thing about PT that was interesting was that they had this kind of massively complex puzzle to solve, which was almost the minutia of that puzzle was frustrating. It was like you have to take 5 steps this way and then 2 steps backwards. It was like a joke how little they got with it. But, you know, the internet loves a challenge, and they figured it out, and they got to the trailer ending, which was perfect. It was a really great demo. Resident Evil, A Beginning Hour, has a puzzle like that in it, but you don't have to do it. So there's what they call the murder puzzle, which is basically back in the early days when they first released that demo, there was a doll's finger, a dummy finger that you could find that no one could find a use for. And then as these demos have progressed, they found like a doll hand.
First of all, can we just talk about the fact that they're updating a demo?
Yeah, it's kind of great.
How
isn't
often
it?
does that happen?
Final Fantasy did it. That's the only other one I could think of.
Did they update it? Because I know they
Final
released
Fantasy did actually update the Dustgate demo. Yeah.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah,
Because I know they released.
stuff to it.
I know they released Platinum. So
Yeah, there's a different guy.
thing,
But they did update it, which was the first time I'd heard of it was Final Fantasy. So the fact that Resident Evil have done, and they've done it really well because they knew. So the fans played that demo through, they loved it, and then they got to a point where they were stuck with that dummy finger. And they had no idea what to do with it.
Do you think this is like a little sidetrack here? But do you think this is more of a marketing ploy, or do you think it's actually a demo to test for bugs?
It's probably a little bit of both.
Okay. Because it's early enough in the game. The game's, I don't think they're given an official date yet.
It's coming out in February.
Did they?
Pretty sure it's February.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't follow
I might
it
be
because
wrong.
it's scary.
Yeah,
Coming out
I
Valentine's
pre-ordered
Day?
it, so I know there's a date. I just don't remember what the date
Yeah.
was.
It's on PlayStation Store. I saw that.
Yeah. So so this dummy finger drove the community crazy, and then they released an update which added a little bit more mysterious to it. And they discovered that like if you held this dummy finger in certain places in the demo, then it would point at something, and then this would cause there to be if you went over to that thing and did something,
Something else would happen.
Something else would happen. And I know that this sounds so vague, but it's hard to explain unless you've done it.
Yeah.
But this would show a bloody handprint to show up on a door upstairs, which was on the attic level, and there was 5 of these. So like you do it, solve the puzzle, bloody handprint, and then you do it again, same door,
it's like the Dark
second
Brotherhood.
bloody handprint, a little bit, yeah. But that was an entirely avoidable sub game in the demo, which is incredible.
like
that
a
they
side
even
quest.
bothered with that. Yeah, like a side quest, but it was
in the
But
demo.
it was the level of intensity of that PT one, which was already almost impossible to pull off. But they have 3 different endings or 4 different endings, I suppose, for the demo. But they only released the ending that actually lets you escape unscathed with this last one, which is called the Midnight version. And then they added the VR to it.
Is there trophies for it? For a demo?
I don't think
I doubt
so,
it.
but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I doubt they would.
I don't remember seeing any pop up
Speaking
while I
of
was playing.
spooky horror games, did you hear about Outlast 2? What they released?
No.
They released they kickstarted an adult diaper because they had requests from people from soiling themselves because they were so scared during Outlast 1. This is no joke. You can go look at
It must be a joke.
No,
There's
it's
way.
it's I can look it up here real quick what it's called. But there's a diaper that they are crowdfunding. Hold on.
There's no way that people actually shit their bowels playing the original game. It wasn't that bad. Like it was bad.
Underscares, the diaper from the creators of Outlast 2.
Underscare.
Kickstarter. From November 17th. Wow. It has 15. It didn't reach its funding. 57 hours to go.
Because it's fucking ridiculous. That's almost a viral scam in itself to me.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like how who was it? What did Ubisoft with whatchamacallit? The Noxulus Rift or whatever they called it for the fart for South Park. Fractured Butthole.
Oh,
but it wasn't,
the mask
but,
with the smells.
Yeah, but that was like marketing thing that took a convention versus this is actually
that was funny.
This is actually something people want to create.
This is stupid.
Yes, I agree. So it says, you shat, we listened, introducing Underscares, the Outlast 2 companion diaper, because when you're scared, number 2 become problem number 1. It's a real thing,
I don't
folks.
believe that people actually did that. I think that's a marketing thing.
$15,000.
God, people are just...
And they need 30,000 years ago, so it doesn't look like they're going to hit it.
But anyway, yes, Resident Evil 7 changed my opinion.
You sent me.
Of
hold on.
games.
I have to read your exact wording.
By all means.
To me, because you were a little scared. Nope, no iPhone. I don't want to send Tom a message.
It was pretty bad. Like, so here's the thing. Like, I played the original demo through, and the demo was scary flat. Like, it's scary in 2D. The jump scares and things like that. But I didn't know what to expect with VR because I'd only done the kitchen demo, and the kitchen demo felt scripted, and like you couldn't really actually do anything. But when you immerse yourself in that house, go ahead.
So basically, you're like, by the way, I'm about to play the demo in VR. Wish me luck. I said, good luck. And I was like, you should stream it.
Yeah,
you didn't,
and I didn't.
But his response, this was about 40 minutes later. His response was, "Welp, fuck everything about that demo. I have fucking chills now. Thankfully, minimal motion sickness, but holy fuck balls, so fucking terrifying."
Yeah, and I stand by that
So
statement.
my response was, so it wasn't scary, and you're like, you would actually die. Tonight I learned there's a limit to the horror I can absorb. My heart will not stop racing.
Yeah. It was really unlike anything I've ever done. And I tell you what makes it so good, and that's mostly because the immersion level is beyond anything I've ever experienced. Mm-hmm. I sat down.
Does it feel like a AAA game in VR?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Even more so than like Batman?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this puts Batman to shame. Not because of the level, like the graphics are great in this demo, but the fact that that the full game is going to be 20 to 40 hours of this, and the atmosphere is second to none. Batman's atmosphere was good. This atmosphere is like you think you are in a dilapidated house.
And we said this a little bit with Windlands. This kind of sounds like more of like an actual, I keep using the word actual game. But
oh yeah, this is almost a slap in the face of people that have been releasing these little non-games. It's like somebody this is like, fuck you, look how far you can take this.
It seems like what they did, which you can't do this when you design it, I know, but it looks like they said, hey, here's the game we're making. How do we put this in VR versus we have VR, how do we make a game around this?
Right. And you could tell every second of the way Capcom was thinking about how this was going to look in VR. And the experience is second to none. If you have a VR headset and you have this demo, it's free, so fucking get it if you don't. I promise you,
I have it.
It will blow your mind, and this is like coming from someone that's played almost every VR game up to this point. There's been nothing that has had me as engaged as this, because the atmosphere, the feeling, the intricacy of it, the actual jump scares that did get me were like it was like, oh my god, like it was like my heart's gone. I'd never do that. I never do that. So it was.
You're like very, very stoic.
I am stoic. Horror games don't normally get to me. I had a few moments in Alien Isolation, but I mean, I can only imagine that game in VR. But it really. And I was more impressed. Well, no, I would say I was more scared than I was impressed, but I was equally as impressed as I was scared.
Here's a really stupid question. It's not. So it's scary and you enjoyed it, but would you go back in and do it again?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so it's not to the point where like I don't fucking want to touch it again.
There are some people that have come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Which you came to that conclusion before playing it, so I can already see that for some folks. That is the only concern I have for this game, is that it won't sell well based on the fact it's almost too perfect. It's almost too scary. And it's such a experience that playing it flat would be something. In VR, like, even though it's an option, which it's great that it's an option, because I think if it was the only way to play it, then they would have a ton less sales.
Yes,
not just because of units, but because people would be too scared to do it.
Well, you'd be cutting down on units, plus percentage of those people can't already, like me, won't play it.
Yeah. So I would say, without doubt, if you have it, play it. It's the best PSVR experience I've ever had.
Cool.
So
there you go.
And then what have you been doing?
You know what I've been doing. Fucking same thing I do every week. The Division. I platinumed The Division last night.
You did.
I'm excited. Survival update is coming out on December 20th. I've been building up to this. I finally got my gear sets last night as well. So I've been playing The Division like fucking crazy. I'm now officially almost 12 days in. 12
days of real
world time. Yeah. I don't know how many hours that is, but it's a lot of hours.
Quite a few.
Yes. So I've been doing that. I was first platinum trophy ever. I sent you a screenshot saying this is awesome type thing.
Yeah, I've never done that. I've never actually gotten one before, so I'm proud of you for
well, it's funny because because
you weren't really trying per se. You just wanted to do everything in the Division that just so happened to get you a
so what
trophy, right?
Well, I did try to get one of them. Okay. So what happened was, and I'm not a trophy hunter at all. I've talked about this. I don't care about trophies. Trophies are cool, but I don't go after them like some people.
Yeah, not at all.
So the Division, a prime example was when I just played the game normally, I had like 85% of the trophies. I'm like, what am I missing? At that point, then I'll go in and like, okay, what do I need to accomplish here? One of them was for the expansion, the underground, I hit it level 40, which I already did. And then the last one was we had to do the underground with all 5 directives turned on challenging with a group of 4. And we did that twice. Apparently that's the most rare trophy in the game. We did it twice yesterday.
Nice.
Because we're badasses. Because Cody joined us afterwards. So we were playing, it was me, Ian, David, and James, we did it. And then Cody joined us and James left. So then we did it again so Cody could get the trophy. And then the hardest one is killing 20 rogues. I cheesed it. I'm not going to lie. We got a group. We all went in the Dark Zone together and we just shot each other. So I could get those 20 rogues.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to get that platinum. So I cheesed that last one, but everything else is all mine. Underground is all mine. I'm waiting for survival. I feel like I'm going to continue going.
And you still love this game to death, don't you?
Oh, I do. I'm a little concerned right now just because survival does not sound that exciting to me.
Doesn't add that much.
I'm intrigued by it more than I'm excited for it.
Okay.
Just to see what it is. It's one of those things where survival, basically, you are not your character anymore. You start over every time. But one of the good points we brought up last night was, well, if we have fucking 6 of us and we're all in the same survival instance, we'll just help each other out.
Right.
And we'll win. I don't know. There's got to be some way to prevent that. I'm guessing. I don't know. But there's got to be some way to make sure there's not a group of 20 people on one server just mowing everybody else down. But it'd be fantastic if there was, especially if we're on that server.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by it. The whole survival aspect, like you have to eat food, you have to drink water, you have to find heat, like you will freeze to death. I don't know. It depends on how harsh it is when I play it. But that being said, I'm going to play it. I'm going to see if I like it. If not, I'm continue the underground.
Are you worried that now that you've kind of done everything that you're not going to play it as much, and by the time survival comes out, you're going to be kind of like, eh?
Well, I think right now I'm at a good point because survival, what's today's day? What's today's date? The 6th.
It's the 6th.
So it comes out in 14 days, 2 weeks.
Okay.
I feel like it's a good time frame because there's also other games I've been wanting to get back into that I haven't. So as of today, Star Wars VR dropped.
Yeah.
So I want to play that. I want to play the new with that, there's also new Battlefront content. Rogue One content came with it with the standard game. I want to play that. So there is things. I told David I need to get back into Borderlands. Me and him started playing Borderlands a little bit. Want to get back into that.
It's a great game.
There's a few games.
I would join you on that, by the way. I have that.
Oh, sweet. GTA is about to drop a big update, or has dropped a big update potentially. I don't remember the date on it. So getting back into that. So it's a perfect timing to have that 2-week gap of like, cool, I did this. I hit my gear score. I'm back where I was before, which sounds really stupid.
And I think 2 weeks is enough. It's not too long of a time.
And you won't.
For you.
I'm sure I'll play it in there just for dailies and stuff like that. Because the other thing with this, I don't know if there's gonna be new gear sets. So saving up Phoenix credits. That's what I did before. It's weird because PS4 on Xbox One survival update and 1.5 came same time. It's one patch. PS4 survival came, but it's not unlocked yet. And then 1.5 patch, which is new gear score, new gear sets, all that kind of stuff, has already come out. So I saved up for that. I kind of want to save up just to be safe again because I don't know in survival if there are specific gear sets or gear items that you can get only in survival mode, which is why I want to play it. I very rarely get this hoarder mentality, but this game, for whatever reason, has caught me.
Gotcha.
And I've said it multiple times. So that is, I'm probably going to take a break from that. I say that, but I probably will play, maybe once a week now instead of playing it every night. Okay. But yeah, GTA is having an update. I'll get back to that. And cool. Star Wars is the other big one I'm excited about.
Bunch of new things coming out just the right time for you to have a little break and then head back to the Division 1 survival mode.
Yes, and I think it's funny because we talked about it before, but the audience for the Division is back to where it was at launch because they fixed a bunch of shit.
Right, which is cool.
I've been there since.
I like that they managed to bring themselves back that far.
I've been there since launch, but like I don't know, I'm scared because part of me is like, we're almost near the end. Granted, we still have 2 more DLCs coming.
Right. But do you think they're just going to make the Division 2, or do you think they're going to keep building on it?
They'll make the Division 2.
Think so?
You know why? You sell another $60 to $100 game, and then add DLC onto that.
Yeah.
And
like Destiny.
I can't remember who I was talking to last night, but if they did that, I would buy it in a heartbeat. It might have been David. Where I was like, if they buy this or they make this, I can guarantee, based on the experience I had in this first game, if it's something similar, which I don't know how you would do the Division 2, whether it'd be like, because it's the Black Friday plague in New York City, whether you'd go to just a different city and kind of do a similar theme.
They could do a different area, or it could be like at a different time frame.
That's what I'm saying.
The collapse, and you live through the collapse or something.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how they do it, but I probably at this point, I put enough hours that the Division is my series if it becomes a series.
Cool.
It is my Final Fantasy. It is my Uncharted. It is my I don't want to say the next one because we're going to talk about it in the next part of the podcast.
Yay.
Let's get to that. So this past week, there's been a couple things happening in the video game world.
It's been a lot. It's been a great couple of weeks for gamers.
Yeah, first thing is the Game Awards, or the Video Game Awards, or whatever the hell they're officially called, happened, and PSX. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start with the Video Game Awards, correct? I'm going to let you lead this because he's literally got a shit ton of notes on his phone.
I watched them very close to each other, and I made notes while I was watching.
I watched a lot of highlights. I just don't have the attention span. I sat through the majority of PSX because it was what I was more excited about. The Game Awards, I watched most of it.
You know what I like about the Game Awards is the fact that it was like put together just by that Jeff Keighley guy.
Yes,
like,
I love Jeff Keighley.
He just really wanted to put together something to highlight the developers but make it like not cheesy, because I'm pretty sure that like for a while like Spike TV had it and it was kind of shitty, and like they've actually made it now so that it's kind of more of a It's more honorable.
Yes.
You know, it's more like the Oscars or something.
The problem I have with the Game Awards is they skipped over a lot of awards on the show and just kind of said, hey, this person won this person won that. So I actually had to go back and find a list of things. But
they always do that, though, with some of the more technical things. But again, when you're highlighting developers, like it's always... Here's the thing. There's stars of games in the game world, and there's not stars. Like Nolan North, Troy Baker, those guys. Even like when you're looking at studio heads like Ken Levine, people like that are people that will go and watch the show for. Like you have... Mr. Kojima, who came out, and you know they went nuts for him for his lifetime. Which was amazing. That was a great moment.
Yes, it reminded me of like Michael Jackson back in the day.
I just kept waiting for him to say "fuck Konami."
I bet you he legally cannot say that. I have a feeling they have him legally bound somewhere.
But yeah, he was there, of course, to show off Death Stranding, which is looking to be really interesting at this point. How do you feel about it?
Before we jump into this, did you see the mod for Metal Gear Solid 5?
No.
That put Kojima and Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro in the game from the trailer that was released for Death Stranding together. Yeah, there's a mod on PC for Metal Gear Solid 5, and I feel like it's a giant middle finger to Konami, and I love it. I love it. So
we'll try and link to that.
Congrats to whoever made that mod. But I'm not actually. I saw a press release on. I read an article. I haven't actually seen it in like functioning.
Okay,
but thank you.
That's great. Yeah.
Fuck Konami.
But
anyways, Death Stranding. What did I think about it? I don't know what the hell is going on. There was some weird.
No one does.
There was some weird tank with tentacles. There was a baby in a jar.
There was an interesting article that Kojima himself posted that said if you play the first trailer and the second trailer side by side, then there are instances of collaboration between the two. For example, when Norman Reedus' baby disappears. Baby appears in Guillermo del Toro's hands.
You mean Norman Reedus' fetus?
Yeah. Norman Reedus' fetuses.
But somebody on YouTube has already
one that shows up on the other. Is you know, of course, like everyone's going to be like checking Hideo's videos out like that, and I'm sure he's just fucking around with it by tweeting it out. But at the same time, it looks fantastic.
It looks amazing.
Been
I just don't
Mickelson,
know.
Michael Madison,
Mike Mickelson,
the guy from Hannibal. He's been added to the cast, and he is a sterling actor. So
here's the question for you for that trailer. Was that in-game footage, do you think? Because it looked fantastic.
It's a CGI. But I don't picture the real game being that far off by the time they're done with it. Because a lot of the Metal Gears did the same thing. They would release these kind of CGI trailers that were overtly kind of amazing. But even when you got to the game, it was still pretty incredible.
When do you think this game's coming out? What year?
Fuck knows.
I'm gonna guess 2018, 2019.
Late 2017, early 2018.
I don't think it's 2017.
I hope so. Because he's been working on it since he left Konami.
Yeah.
And I think, I hope that a lot of it was conceptually moved across from the Silent Hills project. Because I think that the story they're trying to tell obviously is interesting. It's Lovecraftian as well. There's lots of like weird sort of fish tentacle. Yeah,
the thing that got me was the tentacle tank.
The tentacle tank,
and then the marching. So like, it's very. I have not played a Kojima game outside of the fucking 2-hour stream we did of Metal Gear Solid 5, and I was like, there's a fire whale, and you're like, it's Kojima, deal with it.
Yeah.
But the more I see it, like, from an art, when we had back when we had couch conversations, what the podcast used to be, we talked about video games as art, and I think Kojima fucking nails that. He does story really well, he does character really well, but he also says, you know what, I'm gonna have fun with this. I don't care how fucked up and weird it is. We're just gonna do this.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that he loves playing with the fourth wall a lot, like, and just kind of doing things that take you outside of the game for a half a second to realize what's
You're playing
going
a game.
on. Yeah. He's great at fucking with you, and that's just one of my favorite things. So the sterling cast that it has, if they do bring on Junji Ito as well, Junji Ito was the guy from Japan who's considered to be the master of horror comics, and he was supposed to be involved in that Silent Hills project, and by the looks of some of the imagery that they were showing in Death Stranding, entirely possible that he's on board as well, and he is literally a goddamn genius. Like, I love that guy a lot. So that was cool, and it was just nice to see Hideo get his 2 seconds.
Yes, well, he got it. He also got it at E3 when that was the big ball drop, right? E3.
Right.
That was when they first announced it. Death Stranding. Yeah, it had to be E3.
The PS4
there would have been no other
because
way.
it is an exclusive, I believe, as well. Which is even
well,
better.
he's his company. I don't know if they are second
Sony
party.
maybe bought them.
So,
yeah,
well,
I'm not sure.
Or invested them. Somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if
better
they.
word
I don't
for
know
it.
if. I don't know if it's actually owned or whatever it is, but they work very closely together.
Moving on from Death Stranding.
Would have been weird if they if he went to Microsoft.
Yeah, that would have been a
felt
little weird.
funky.
Yeah, I wouldn't have enjoyed that at all. He belongs at Sony. He's a crazy dude. Him and Suda51 should get together and have a house party. It'd be great. So the other thing that was kind of it was only on screen for maybe 30 seconds, and I was like, oh, really? That's kind of awesome. I can't believe there's not more going on with that. Was the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale series, which everyone that has played one Telltale game
Has played them all.
It's either played them all or has been so impressed that they've then purchased them all.
Yeah.
And
like you're like you
I own
literally
them
were
all,
going
yeah.
through and you're like, I think I own them all.
because they go on sale so often, and every time
Yeah.
I see, even like Tales from the Borderlands, which I was not at all interested in playing.
I have it. I've not played it.
Yeah, I love
tried.
Telltale, and I think when I get into one of their stories, I can't get out. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have to play that game through to completion. And the
like a
last one I
novel.
did was The Wolf Among Us, which I had a great time with. But yeah, I mean, they had season 1 and 2 of the Walking Dead as well. So alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy, they also announced the Walking Dead season 3 as well.
So it's becoming its own TV show.
It's yeah, kind of.
What's-
It's interesting because The Walking Dead is one of those sort of franchises that is easy to splinter into other medias. So you have The Walking Dead itself, the TV show. Obviously, it came from the comic book. The comic book has there's some regular books now that have been written like a gritty novel style thing that have been come out. Then there's Fear the Walking Dead, which is a runoff of the original show, which is, again, a lot of people are really into that. So it's just, they've spread it out so far. It was such a phenomenon in the comic book industry to be that popular.
Do you want a confession time? I've never seen an episode of Walking Dead.
That's fine. You're not a horror guy. I
will
understand.
never. It's zombies.
It is great though.
Oh, I've heard nothing but good things about it. I just not my. Type
I
of show.
haven't
It's not
watched it for a
cartoons.
long time. I watched like 3 seasons and then I just kind of fell off, which is a shame. But I will eventually catch back up. And but the games, the Telltale games, were knock it out of the park good. Basically, season 1 of Walking Dead was what made Telltale jump ahead of the pack.
Yes.
Because they had some older games, like they did Back to the Future and things like that, which were well received, but they still were kind of a little buggy, a little glitchy. Season 1 of The Walking Dead was an emotional roller coaster. It had a black protagonist. It had all this kind of stuff that you wanted to have seen for a while, and they put it
finally
together
did it.
so well. The story was super engaging. They really realized, careful there.
Punching my phone.
They really realized just how far they could take that. And season 2 was great as well. You were focused on Clementine, the girl from the first, so there's a continuation there. And then this one, it looks like Clementine's growing up a little bit, and there's another
So she got
guy of
boobies.
Latin origin again, protagonist.
She got boobies.
Sorry?
Does she have boobies?
She might. I don't
Okay.
remember.
You
I
weren't
feel
looking.
honestly, having played her as a child, I feel like a big brother at this point, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd be happy about that.
What franchise do you want to see Telltale take on? If you could choose any franchise that exists, what would you want?
Gosh, I would love to see like a Telltale retelling of Call of Cthulhu or something like
Really?
that. Like some old school horror that they could because they did so good with the horror genre. I do like the other genres, but I mean they're great with comic books. They're great with comic book material. So potentially something from the comic book realm. But I would love to see some like a modern day retelling of a classic like Call of Cthulhu. That'd be great. By you?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah.
My initial thought was like the Mario origin story, like doing a Mario story. That'll never happen.
Didn't he just come out of the womb as a red
Came out of the pipe, if you know what I'm saying.
shirted plumber guy?
Yeah, that's how that works. No, I mean, now that I played The Division, if that becomes a thing. That would be cool to have, like...
I mean, there's a story there.
The Black Friday, I was going to say Black Plague, Friday virus, and kind of...
Isn't that the beautiful thing about Telltale, though, is that they can literally pick anything, and it can be a game.
Well, they did
the
fucking Minecraft.
Yeah. They can pick a game. They had Game of Thrones, they did, the TV show. Walking Dead, obviously a TV show, but it was a different version of it.
I wonder how long it's going to be before people are going to get burned out, though.
It's a great question, and I think it's a valid question. But
I think
at this point...
if they keep the IPs very... I changed my answer. Star Wars.
Okay.
Star Wars.
That would be
Telltale
difficult
Star
to
Wars
put together, but it would be great.
Oh, no, but how fucking fantastic would that be? But yeah, I wonder how long it's going to be before people start getting burned out. But I think if they keep the IPs fresh enough for different audiences.
Yeah, that's they're almost like the Funko of video games. They just pick whatever they feel like. I mean, they could do Harry Potter. They could do, because they've gone so far at this point. No IP is out of their range. I don't think they've done
especially
well.
Especially now that they've proven.
Yeah, they've proven they could do Game of Thrones. They can do fucking apparently Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, there's nobody that's not going to let them use their
Guardians of the Galaxy surprises me because it's owned by Disney.
Sure.
So just think, if they do this right, that opens up the whole Disney
the Marvel,
catalog,
all the Star Wars. You might get that.
Please Telltale Star Wars.
Moving on from Telltale, the other kind of more interesting moments, more human moments from the Game Awards were obviously the award that was delivered to the guy that did that Dragon Cancer.
Dude, I watched that live as it was happening. That's one of the few things they caught live, and that was the first thing I saw.
It was beautiful.
I got chills right now just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that dude, just his speech. If you haven't watched it, go look it up on YouTube. That Dragon Cancer Game Awards speech.
For those that don't know, that Dragon Cancer was a game that he wrote to help him come to terms with the death of his son that died from cancer. So they wanted to kind of commemorate him. Yeah, there's goosebumps.
There are.
Those on view on camera, he's really feeling it right now. But yeah, basically it was kind of like a love letter to his son, and just kind of showing what it's like to deal with that. If you really want a depressing experience, but ultimately a very human one that might give you. And we're talking about games as art here. I mean, there isn't that many more that you can get than a video game that commemorates your son.
Yeah.
But either way, very deserving gentleman, very moving speech.
I highly recommend everybody either play that game, or I didn't play it, but I watched Jacksepticeye do it, and he did it justice. He was not his loud, obnoxious self. He knew what he was getting into, and it was very well done. So just experience that game. Experience
it if you can. If it's too much for you, maybe just. I mean, don't they donate the proceeds to like a charity or something?
Probably.
Yeah. So maybe just think about picking it up to help with that. Just
like that was probably the best game or moment at the Game Awards. Period. Hands down.
And then in direct counter opposition to that was the Gamer of the Year, which is a relatively. I don't remember them doing this last year. I'm sure they did, but I think it's PewDiePie probably. But they did like a kind of a YouTuber thing.
Personality.
Personality. And Boogie won it.
Boogie 2988, otherwise known as Francis, otherwise known as the fat guy that sits in the chair and is real funny.
Yeah. I've never seen him before.
He's a big dude. I mean,
I saw him on the show. I mean, and I don't want to like be down on the guy because he was clearly like a little down on himself because he was saying, someone like me can get something like this, and I liked him based off of that alone.
Oh yeah.
But I did see clips of his videos, and it looks like something I would not enjoy.
He does so. There's two sides. I have watched a few of his videos. Not a huge fan of him, but he's kind of in the circle I watch every so often. Like I have like my everyday like Game Grumps and Jacksepticeye, and then I have like a circle outside of that. He's in that circle outside, and he has two main style video. Well, two characters I'll say. He has himself, so Boogie 2988, just doing unboxings, talking about life, whatever it may be, and then he has this character which is kind of what blew up was Francis, this petulant child that just doesn't understand and gets real angry. And his first video I think that blew up was him smashing either an Xbox or a Guitar Hero guitar or something. I just got angry at something and just freaked out. I don't like the Francis character as much. There are moments where I like it because it's exactly how I'm feeling. I just don't want to say it. But his like the Boogie himself videos are some of my favorite because he is super real with stuff. And he has one that I watched a few years ago called Why I'm Fat. Wow. And obviously he's self-aware. He's a big dude. And he kind of talked about like, look, there's medical reasons that this is going on. He goes, yes, I overeat. Yes, I've done stupid things in my life. But he goes, there's also other things you guys don't know about. And it's been a struggle for me because a bigger dude on the internet, how much shit he gets, but he has a very positive community. So
That's cool.
That's
I like that. Maybe because I was wondering if he was deserving of it, because honestly I hadn't seen much of him.
he's not. He was definitely of the list that was shown one of the smaller ones. I mean, he's
Right.
not small. I mean, we're talking millions of people.
Yeah.
But Jacksepticeye, to give you an idea, Jacksepticeye right now is the fastest growing YouTuber ever. He's outgrowing PewDiePie. He's hit, I think, 13 million or 14 million recently.
Wow.
Subscribers. He hits basically 1 million every 6 months.
Wow.
Give you an idea. So I was kind of surprised he didn't win. I wanted to know how they chose, because it's a very subjective category.
Yeah.
I guess any award is, but like, how do you choose versus?
Yeah, I mean, it's when if you create a game, you say, this is the game I am pushing forward for recognition, and then you can judge that as an object. But how do you judge a person and their entire,
backlog?
Yeah, exactly, their entire
So
catalog.
I selfishly wanted Jack to win. I'm a huge Jacksepticeye fan, as you know, but Boogie, I think, is deserving of it. He's gotten through a lot of shit. There was one video this year that I'm kind of happy he changed the direction his channel was going. I don't know if you've ever heard of like Drama Alert or people like these. They're basically the drama people on YouTube.
Right.
I'm very deep in YouTube. You're not as much.
No, not at all. I do hate drama though, so I'm down with anything that's.
So what
anti-that.
happened was Boogie was talking about like these different people getting in fights, and he became what he didn't want to be. So he's causing drama because of what he was talking about. And he had a video, and he was crying. He's like, "Look, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry." Like it was great. It was one of those, again, those human moments that happen on the internet. We had one on the podcast.
The reason why you pick
ago.
personality over content.
Yeah, we had one a few weeks ago with our podcast. Like those moments where you're just like, oh yeah, this guy's a human. He's not a fucking person on my screen. He's not an actor. He's not a made up character. He's a real person. And I think he deserves it. Selfishly, I wish Jack would have won it, but Jack also is fantastic. I mean, I don't think any of these guys really. I mean, it's cool for them to win it, but I don't think they put anything in winning it. Which they do it because they love to do it and they love their fans.
Speaking of other kind of odder moments during the Game Awards, did you see the guy play guitar for the Doom soundtrack?
I did. It was fucking fantastic.
He was incredible.
So, first things first, he went around that stage like nobody's business.
Oh yes,
he
did.
like, woo!
He's like, I've got this guitar. I know how to play this song. Like everything else is gonna be party. I don't have to sing.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything. I just have to party. And dude, he rocked that stage.
So it was weird because like I'm usually not a fan of performances at award show because I feel like it's just filler. It takes up time that could be used for announcing other awards.
Right.
So it was weird, but it was fantastic. I think it was one of the coolest moments. I don't want to say it's the best because that Dragon Cancer is, again, my opinion, the best moment of the show, period. But that was one of those moments where I went in, I was kind of like, I thought about flipping off, watching something else coming back. And I stuck and watched most of it.
Yeah, you know what was really
fantastic.
weird is that he was ripping like real hard, and I wanted to look at like someone that looked like Deathclock on stage playing those songs, and instead it was this skinny dude just jumping around. And I was like, oh, you don't look like how you sound, but at the same time, fucking awesome for you for owning that.
You know what they need to do?
What's that?
They need to do a live, like somebody has to do a playthrough of a video game.
And have him play the music live.
Have him play the music
I think
live.
they've done that before, haven't they?
I'm sure
With,
Zelda's,
like Mario or Zelda or something.
I'm sure Zelda's done it, but I would love to see that. Like, picture that with like a fucking action game.
Right.
Until you die. I would love to see, and then even like the improv, like if you die, like what do you play?
Yeah.
And just mess around with them. It'd be a lot of fun.
Alongside Doom there, we had Nolan North accepting his award for Best Voice Actor. And we know that Troy Baker was there because they were hanging out for a while. How do you feel about that?
I love Nolan North more than Troy Baker just because it's funny. So if you ever watched our Aladdin playthrough from back in the day, I didn't know who Nolan or Troy Baker was. I didn't know who Nolan North was either.
One of them.
Or
both of them.
Probably. Well, I knew.
You were not familiar with
I didn't know who they. I knew who
more
they.
mainstream.
Well, I knew who they played. I didn't know who they were.
Right.
That makes sense. But Nolan North, I'm by far a bigger fan, partially because I got the opportunity to meet him at Indie PopCon, so that was kind of cool. I got to say hi. I mean, when I say meet, I literally said hi to him and walked away.
I mean, it's
yeah,
it's nice.
Cool dude. His panel was fantastic. Talking about, I'm a fan of voice acting, so his panel was fantastic. So that to me is kind of why I like him a little bit more. I did watch Kind of Funny. Just had Troy Baker on their podcast, and it was kind of interesting to look at him. He's not what I thought he looked like. I pictured some old man and was not some old man.
I like Troy Baker a little bit more, and I don't know why. I think it's just the characters that he's done I'm more of a fan of, but I like hearing him talk about things. Not just because of his voices, but like his actual like outlook.
You know why I like Nolan North, I've decided? He looks like my dad. He very much looks like, he reminds me of my dad to a certain extent.
Fair enough.
Other than my dad's not in an Uncharted.
So you like Nolan North because you have daddy issues.
Yes,
that's
much.
Great.
But on that, I told you before we started recording, there's a little side slap to the face he did to, for those of you who don't know, there's a voiceover actors strike. I don't know if it's going on or they've talked about striking.
Right.
I'm not 100% sure. But basically he gave a little smack to the face to those people saying, hey, we need developers, we need everybody. They're basically, what they're fighting for is royalties for games when they're sold, which I personally think is fair to a certain extent, because it all depends on percentages, obviously. But
yeah.
If you're in a game, you help make a game. I feel like yours is part of a game as somebody who developed the game, even though the developer's side of things is you only work for 1% of this. We've been working on this for 6 years.
The question I have is, I can understand the want for royalties, but when you are an actor, you sell the movie based on your persona. So if I see a new movie coming out by someone that Michael C. Hall is in, I like Michael C. Hall a lot, so I'll probably go and watch it based off the fact that I like Michael C. Hall. I don't think anyone is not going to play Uncharted 5 if Nolan North is not voicing it.
But the other thing
I mean, they might be pissed off about it.
I would argue to that is, but does the writing, does the voice actor make the character, or does the writing make the character and the voice actor adds to the character?
Obviously, it's a combination of both, but I think it's just interesting that they think that they're at that level that that like their name alone sells a game. I don't think they're there. And I will say, like, if they already have been established as a character, maybe there's more merit to that. Like with Nathan Drake or whatever. You know, if you suddenly changed up that dude's name, then that's going to be a problem. And I can understand maybe wanting an incremental raise based on that. Like, same as, like, if you're like a Friends, you're the cast of Friends, and every season you're getting more and more famous, then you're going to start asking for more and more money.
That's why Home Improvement went off the air, because everybody wanted more and more money.
Right, exactly.
That's usually why shows end.
It's true.
That's the honest
true, but at the same time, there is a modicum of truth to it.
Yeah,
right?
But it's also true that if you get, like, that's why Power Rangers always turn over so quickly, because they don't want to pay them. But it's also the truth that when you think of, I think it's different for a TV show and a movie, because kind of like you're saying, you can see that person,
right?
Versus a video game. Even animation, I don't think should. I feel like animation, video games, kind of the same category in this aspect, because your character is not that person. Your voice is adding to that character.
Yeah.
But the character was made completely up by somebody else.
Absolutely. And again, it's like, even in the music industry and things like that, you're looking for royalties for a song that you, like, that's technically a song you contributed to, but again, people are coming to the band because of the sound of the band, not...
And there's, in the music industry has multiple royalties. You have performance and you have writing, which I think, my opinion then would be, if they did royalties for maybe, like, if you used your sound clips outside of the game, cool. Like, if they did a ringtone where it's like, hey, it's Nolan, my name's Nathan Drake, I'm pick up the phone, you fucker. Like, you should get paid for something like that. But if it's in the game, I think I'm assuming these guys are making bank. I
assume that they get paid a lot of money to do what they do, because
no idea.
You know, it's, I mean, and this is in no way knocking them as actors, because they are phenomenal actors. And the fact is that they do actually, a lot of the times, put on, like, mocap suits and act out those parts.
Especially with Uncharted. I mean, Uncharted is known
and
for
Last
that.
of Us, exactly. Those guys, like, they really do act those scenes
Troy
out.
Baker was what's his face? I keep forgetting that.
Yeah. So I think, yes, there is an argument to be made for them to get royalties, but I don't think it necessarily should look the same as, like, movie royalties, because I don't think people are buying those games based off of voices alone, especially in new IPs.
I think it's a very finite audience that knows who the voices are.
Right.
I mean, I didn't.
It is somewhat of a niche, correct? If you're buying, like, for Joe Average, they're not, like, seeking out games voiced by Nolan North, which, you know, again, not to disrespect the guy, amazing. They're looking
for Nathan Drake. They're not looking for Nolan North.
Correct.
Cool. Next. Is that it for the video game awards?
Not quite. We got two more. Well, first of all, the guy that said keep him out for Harambe from Blizzard. I love that guy to death. Secondly, Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay reveal. Did you see it?
It's all right.
It's all right. You haven't played the other ones.
I don't. Yeah. So again, this is the whole Final Fantasy thing.
This is
the Final Fantasy thing all over again. I have no attachment to this franchise.
Right.
It looks pretty. It looks like a spaceman thing. Like,
it is a spaceman thing. Space Woman thing apparently based off the trailer. But,
But
I would say
just
this: until you play the other three,
which probably won't happen.
It needs to though. It's really
good.
good.
You're gonna sit me down. We're gonna have a stream like weekend. You're gonna make me play it.
All of them. Fantastic
I
games.
won't feed you until you're done.
Here's the thing: like a lot of those games, like I bought the Uncharted trilogy, and I didn't know if I'd be able to finish it. I made it through 2.5 games, and then I was just like, I'm kind of done with Uncharted at this point.
I played
Mass
1 and
Effect.
2.
I literally couldn't wait to put the next game in. Like,
So it's like
I played
Division.
the trilogy.
It's like me with the Division right now. We're
Kind of,
literally
yeah.
like I will choose the Division over everything else because I want to be in that world.
But
I wanna do those
and a
things.
lot of the times, you buy a game and you're like, okay, cool, that was amazing. Then you're done, and then you
go to the
wouldn't
next
want
thing.
to go right into the sequel. You'd want to try a different genre or mix it up a bit. That game again. Super addicted to it. Amazing game. So I'm excited for it. I think anyone that watched it should be excited for it because it really did just look like the ultimate version of Mass Effect. So let us know if you're listening or watching.
Again, I feel like I'm disconnected just because I haven't. Again, it's the
if
whole
you've
fun
played
thing
Mass
to
Effect,
attach
how excited are you for Andromeda based off that gameplay footage? And the last thing I want to talk about with the Game Awards, I know this has gone long, but this is a good week, and I want to get into
This is going to be a longer podcast just for the
Totally
sheer fact
fine.
of how much crap happened.
a lot of stuff. Let's talk about. Is that the winner was, of course,
Oh, totally forgot we were going to talk about the winner of the
Overwatch.
Game of the Year, Overwatch.
Yeah, and we have differing opinions on that game, me and you.
Yep.
Are you happy about it?
I don't know. I think it deserves it. I think it's a great game. I think it is proven to itself, or proven to a lot of people that it is a good game.
I'm happy that a new IP got it.
I still
That I
think
am happy with.
I still think Inside should have beat it.
You think so?
The reason I think Inside should have beat it is I feel like there's so much more to that game than Overwatch. Granted, Overwatch, you got character balancing, the personalities are great, but there's a story, and I think to win Game of the Year, you have to have some sort of story factor.
Think so?
That goes and plays into it. Very.
That's a good point.
Think of a game that has won Game of the Year that does not have some sort of story.
That's true.
Other than
You're
Overwatch
right.
now.
It is one of the first games that's kind of light on narrative to win, but and it's almost like they've given it to it entirely based off the strength of its gameplay, which is a fantastic testament
Yes.
to that game. But at the
And
same time,
the
maybe not your typical game of the
the pool is there. I mean, the fans are there. The people are there playing, and I play it constantly. I mean,
Yeah, and they had stuff like Battlefield and stuff in the mix there, and I'm just like, come on, guys, you can't just put it in there because it's Battlefield.
Yes.
Like things like Inside, much more interesting, much more worthy of being put in that list of games. But narrative tales are usually the better ones. Uncharted 4 was the one that everyone wanted to win.
Yeah,
and
if
I think to an extent,
I kind of feel like, yeah, if Uncharted 4, again, this is Uncharted 4 one story over Inside. I feel bad because I feel like Inside, that was my concern was, again, the AAA's overshadowing these indies, and as you know, I love indie games, and I feel
it's
like
hard for them to be on that platform because they don't have that money, but at the same time, I think you're right.
I mean, it won Indie Game of the Year, which
Yeah.
it rightfully deserved.
Yeah.
But I
Although
feel,
I personally preferred Oxenfree, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah, but you can't argue that Inside was...
And Firewatch. Firewatch came out this year. We forgot about that.
Yeah,
That was
but
incredible.
Firewatch, the problem I had with Firewatch is how
Didn't
it
stick
ended.
the landing, but it was a great,
yes,
great game.
I think if that game had stuck to landing, it would have been a different story
Yeah.
for me. But I think both Oxenfree and Inside were fantastic games. Again, story-based games,
Yeah.
but that's what indie games can do better because they don't have the bigger budgets
True.
to do it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll play another game like Oxenfree for some time, and that makes me a little sad.
Yeah.
And Inside would be.
But I really,
same
we've had this conversation before. Like, we had literally a conversation. Does an indie game deserve Game of the Year? And I think we've gotten to the point where it should. I mean, Journey
Yeah.
did.
I definitely think it should be up there, and I think it should be considered, and I don't think it should be weighed down by the weight of the studio behind it.
Yeah. Again, Uncharted is a fantastic game. Overwatch is a fantastic game. You always want an underdog story, and
Yeah.
I feel like it was an
That would have been a good
it was
one.
an easy answer for Overwatch and Uncharted.
Yeah.
Is my opinion. Like, but again, I can't.
Too expected.
I can't argue with it.
1
type
out of
thing.
10, IGN.
Yeah, I can't argue with it because they're fantastic games.
Yeah.
So this was a really good. So before we move on to the next part,
Yeah.
before we look into the future,
Yeah.
look at how fantastic this lineup of games was this year.
Oh, yeah.
Like, started with Doom being like the big surprise in the beginning of the year. Last year we had Bloodborne was kind of the big surprise in the spring. Dying Light was a big surprise in the spring last year.
January.
But this year we had Doom early on. The Division for me, granted that game was broken, but it had a lot of hype when it came out, and it's got that hype kind of back slightly.
I think
with a little bit of a limp, but
I think it was a good year for gaming. I still don't think it was great, and I just think it's because the palette of games that came out is not necessarily catered to my tastes much as it does yours.
Yeah.
A lot of good multiplayer games.
Yes, multiplayer.
For me, not so much because I'm more of a
and indies. Again, we're talking about the Witness.
There was incredible
Inside,
indies. I've played
Oxenfree.
more indies this year than I've ever played before, and loved more indies this year more than ever before. So for me, this was the year of the indie. But I think that when because we have a sort of a top 10 or top 5 game of the year thing coming up soon, we should have a friend on for that to help us out with it. And going over my list, I had trouble making 10. So I got to 5 pretty easily.
Yes.
10 was a lot harder. So I do think that it's been a hit and miss year for gaming, but I think if you're a certain type of gamer, mostly you, then it's been a pretty good year.
Yeah, I literally just pulled my list up. See, I was like, what am I forgetting? And that doesn't include... Oh, my phone just vibrated on me. Doesn't include like VR experiences, which
I mean, VR in itself being released this year is a fucking
the hardest thing with VR, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about it on that one, so I don't go too in depth here. Is the fact that I think the VR experiences are some really really cool ones, but I don't think they're on the level yet to win Game of the Year because they're so early on. But you see the structure of where this thing is going, and you're like, oh my god, yes. Yeah. Please, Sony, please stick with this.
I'd say after my experience with Resident Evil, I'm very, very hopeful for the future.
So that'll be your Game of the Year 2017.
Maybe so.
Actually, Horizon's coming out.
Maybe so. I do want to play Farpoint a lot and see if that makes me sick or not, because that's my only concern for that game.
Do you have a spider issue?
I do have a spider issue.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Giant spiders. But anyways,
and then moving on to PlayStation Experience, which was the other big event.
Second thing that happened.
Second part of the second part.
It just got crazy bananas.
Yeah, PlayStation Experience, they really held back a few things for that this year, didn't they?
Well, so PlayStation. Let's start out with PlayStation Experience is not an E3. It's catered towards PlayStation fans. It's open to the public.
It's a love letter to PlayStation.
Yes, open to the public. It's not closed to business insiders. So, yes, there's games and stuff that are revealed and things that go on. But it is to like, hey, you remember these games? You love them? Well, here's a couple more. But I agree with you. There's some things that held back. The big thing for me was obviously VR. E3 had a few things, but they still didn't really talk about it because it wasn't out yet. Now VR is out.
It's always interesting with E3. Usually every company waits to bring out their big guns to E3, but PlayStation kept some stuff behind for
what's cool with this is it's 6 months apart.
Yeah.
So E3 is in June. This is in December.
Yeah. So it's a good catch-up. So the first thing they did was they announced Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Yes. And even though I am not a gamer that would enjoy that, and you're not either, the crowd seemed to love the shit out of it.
Can we talk about the fact that it's called Infinite? That means they're not... To me, that means they're going to build on this platform. They're not, for the near future, they're not going to release another one.
Potentially, they could just have it as like a digital thing, like that they continually evolve. But
which I think
they also re-released Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which was kind of nice of them to do because there's a lot of solid... the people that love that stuff, like the esporters and stuff like that,
they're fucking into
really fucking love it. And there was a lot of people like hooting, hollering, and kind of just
losing
losing their minds.
So can we talk about a minute... during this whole thing, again, it's fans in the audience.
Crowd reaction was incredible.
It was great. There's this one guy, the camera kept panning back to him, and he was just like, up when this happened, was just cheering, like going fucking nuts. Dude, and I was like, oh my god, dude, like
it's so good that they could do that, and they would like scream thank you at them on stage and stuff, and it was a really really fun. It was way more fun to watch than the Game Awards. I really hope at some point to go to PSX.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. We should try and
our buddies,
figure that out.
St. Louis developer Happy Badgers were there.
Yeah,
so they got mentioned on.
It looked like a good time.
They got mentioned on stage.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they very quickly in a list of indie games, but they got mentioned.
And then we had the big reveal of the official remake of the Crash Bandicoot. Close. The Crash Bandicoot series. He hinted at original sort of games, and there was a bit of Wipeout in there before that as well. Did you remember? Did you see Wipeout?
I did.
Wipeout returning.
Do you remember? Do you remember the Wipeouts? Do you remember? I
remember Wipeout. But
it's a South Park reference for anybody who doesn't know.
But I'm amazed they didn't make that VR.
Yeah,
I would have loved that in VR.
Yeah. I really think it's funny about how much you're into VR and how much I'm like, I want to play my flat games, as you call them.
Yeah, it's
you're completely 180'd.
I love.
But I agree. I think it's a missed opportunity for that. But I also don't like Drive Club that much. Like if I could choose racing in VR versus Drive Club in VR versus racing like Project Cars not in VR, I would choose Project Cars because it is the better racing game.
Right.
They have yet to figure out the whole VR with racing aspect. Well, but this being spaceships.
Yeah, I
a
mean,
little different.
it's a little bit more futuristic. It's something that they've already kind of handled pretty well in other VR games. But also, alongside
speed might
that,
be
they
dangerous.
had, for you and your kind of more racing-orientated mindset, Gran Turismo is being announced as being full
Full
VR
VR.
experience, which is
Gran
beautiful.
Turismo Sport. That game
Yeah.
looks pretty. So here's, I'm gonna nerd out for a second.
Go for it. I know nothing of cars, but go ahead.
Well, this is not cars. This is video technology. So your PS4 Pro can do HDR and 4K. The Gran Turismo game, to give you an idea, the Pro can do roughly 500 to 1,000 nits. The Gran Turismo game was made with 1,500 nits
Wow.
of light. And nits, for those of you who don't know, is just a measure of light, kind of like how much light and dark and color you can put in for it. But they went above and beyond what they could do. And there was one, I was watching IGN's coverage of it, and they basically came in, and they can explain it way better than I can, so I'm not super technical on it, but they came in, and the guys were talking about how they have like photo mode, and they were like the details, even like them talking about coming over a crest and being blinded by the headlights.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing that can happen. And they're like, you actually see it. Granted, you don't have a TV that can see it, but you can see it. And they were talking about how they kind of went above and beyond, because even on a normal TV, that'll make a difference.
Yeah.
But not as big of a difference, obviously.
That's kind of cool.
And one of the things I wish we had the experience of doing, because we've not seen a game in 4K yet
Right.
in real life.
I've seen 4K TV, damn it.
I've seen 4K content, but I've not seen a game in 4K. One of the things that IGN said they did is they had the HDR TV over here. They had non-HDR, exactly the same thing over here while they were playing, and they just kind of said flip back and forth, and you can see the difference.
Right.
And it was really, they said it was an eye opener. It's not one of those things if you don't have, you won't miss.
Right.
Because the game's gonna look pretty.
But once you have it, then
Once
it's
you have it,
there's
you're
no
like,
going
oh,
back.
shit.
Cool.
It's kind of like I don't want to say it's like HD because it's not quite the same, but the color gamut is actually wider. So here's another little fun fact. Ferrari Red is outside the RGB gamut. For those of you who don't know, it's red, green, blue. Those are the kind of what we use to make colors in the world of art and video games.
You're really going low on this one,
Yeah.
huh? Red, green, and blue mixed together to make other colors.
to make art. So what they do though is the Ferrari Red is outside of that RGB gamut. So they actually used a different, I can't remember what they called it, but they actually have a spectrum, the wider color range spectrum, where they can actually get the true Ferrari
They have
Red.
sRGB is the standard, which is what it's basically like internet color scheme. So
Yeah.
if it exists on the internet, it's under sRGB standard, but you can go outside of that, which is very impressive.
So
so that'll be a
basically
lot of fun.
what I was
And
saying.
the VR version.
What I was saying basically is that game has a lot of technical prowess behind it that you'll probably never even notice.
Yes.
But the fact that it's there is really cool.
So
Can we go back to we skipped over it. Good old Crash.
Oh yeah.
Let's go back to Crash. Let's go back to Crash because I kind of interrupted you, but Crash.
Yeah.
Fucking Crash.
Crash, man.
I was on a PlayStation guy, but fucking Crash.
Yep.
I've talked about it before. It's fucking Crash.
And it's
I like the.
it looks brilliant.
What do you think of the trailer?
They're great.
So I like how they did the PS1. Like here's your shitty version. Here's
Mm.
the new thing. Do you hear what they did? So the way they did that is they didn't just take the old assets and up-res them. They took the math and geometry of the old assets and made new ones.
Wow.
So it's a complete, I don't want to say it's a complete redo because it's the old game story-wise and all that, but they took that math and kind of said, fuck it, we're going to scrap all that. We're going to make it all over here, the exact same thing. There are some tweaks. It's not exactly the same thing, but holy shit, I'm
It did look
excited.
incredible.
And $40.
I almost forgot how
40
bad
bucks. 40.
the original Crash looked.
$40
I hear you.
for 3 games.
It's not bad.
Best 3 games. I don't say best 3 games.
I was never a gigantic Crash fan. I liked it,
loved
but
'em.
I wasn't obsessed with it like some people at this table. But yeah, I'm excited for fans of the game because it does look like about as good a remake as you're going to get for that game, and it looks like a lot of fun.
I loved back in the day the Crash Bandicoot commercials from the 90s where he had the big giant megaphone.
They were silly.
Just
The other kind of one of the bigger surprises of the show was that they are already working on another Uncharted, but it's not Nathan Drake. It's because
not.
they've closed it.
I didn't know who that lady was, but
I believe her name is Chloe. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I haven't played Uncharted in a while, but
Yeah.
she's a main character in the original Uncharted games.
Can we still talk about how pretty Uncharted is, period? Just like the fact that you don't know where cutscene ends and gameplay begins every time.
It was quite the demo to show off.
Because at first it's like, oh, this is a trailer, like this will be a year or two away,
Right.
whatever. And then you're like, oh, by the way, this is gameplay. And I was like, whoa, shit.
Yeah, it was incredible.
I don't want to.
Very
We'll
beautiful.
save it to the end, but there's another game that Naughty Dog has been working.
Oh yeah,
on.
we'll get to that. And then
And it's
of
not
course,
Crash Bandicoot.
The Resi 7 demo. We already talked about that, so I'm not going to get
Yeah.
too into that. But I'm stoked that they released that and they did the full VR update for it. Keeping it rather in the world of VR, we also had Ace Combat 7, which apparently looks like it's just going to be VR missions and not an entire game of VR like Gran Turismo. So how do we feel about that?
I'm not too upset about it. I mean, yes, it would be nice, but I feel like at this point, that's what the standard is.
Yeah.
Look at like Final Fantasy, like.
But do you
Star
question
Wars.
whether making that the standard is like a lack of support for the VR abilities
I'm not-
when you have companies like Capcom that did make an incredible full game in it?
There's two things I think are involved with something like with a decision like that. One is obviously resources.
Mm-hmm.
How long would it take to make the full game in VR? Like, it's not VR button done.
Right, that's true. There's no
yeah.
way to do that.
Because think about it, if you play a, as you call them, a flat game. I feel like that's going to become a term.
We can make it a thing.
If you do a flat game, you don't have to worry about rendering everything in 3D behind you. It's just whatever's in front of you, and when you spin around, yes, it'll be there. But like VR, you have to render everything around you. The sound is all different because you're literally inside the game. And I want more developers to do what Resident Evil's doing and making it the whole thing. I kind of understand why they're not initially. I think it's two reasons. One, resources, and the other point I was going to make was just the fact that people still are not 100% sure with motion sickness.
Yeah.
And how long you can. I think Resident Evil will be the first test of how long
Resident
you can
Evil
save
7 has done everything they can to make that right. I think not only by including those controls we talked about earlier, but by the fact that they have made a lengthy game that they are probably going to warn you like every hour to take your headset off.
It's like what was the game?
I don't think you'd be able to last
Like
more than an
Wii
hour
or,
without
I
taking
think it's
it
Wii
off
or
anyway.
Mario, where it's like, hey, you'd be amazed. Batman, I just hung in there for a while.
This is Resident Evil.
I know, I know, but I'm saying just in general VR.
Yeah, I made it the
for
whole way
hours.
through Batman with the.
But what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I completely just lost train of thought.
Sorry, buddy.
Cool. Next,
Remake City alongside Crash Bandicoot. We also have Parappa.
which I've never played.
Parappa.
The demo's out. I downloaded it.
It's a
probably
lot of
gonna try it.
fun. It's the original, as I was telling you earlier, the original Guitar Hero kind of. It's a rhythm-based game. You press the buttons and
It's
time
a
with the
PlayStation
music.
exclusive, right? That's why I never played it. It's got to be.
It was a PlayStation
Okay.
exclusive, correct? And they did a sequel.
That's why I think
and
it's weird for like me. It's weird. Two things are weird. Me saying I play PlayStation because it was the fucking devil growing up, as you know, as I called it, because I'm a Nintendo guy. And the second thing is like I feel like all these franchises that are PlayStation only, I should know about, and I do know about them, but I know nothing about them. If that makes sense.
It just makes it more fun.
Like
to
I
me.
know what they are.
Yeah.
I just know nothing about. Like Parappa the Rapper, I know. I can picture the dog head. I can picture him doing his thing. Don't know what the gameplay is.
Right. Well, we're going to find X. We're going to play that. And then we have Patapon and Loco Roco, which were added to that list. And those are originally kind of more so mini games experiences. Loco Roco was like a small experience for PlayStation 4, but also primarily the Vita or the PSP actually, not even Vita. And Patapon was PSP as well. So they
Greg
were.
Miller from Kind of Funny wants everybody to buy Patapon so they make more of them.
Patapon is kind of
I know
shitty.
nothing about
I didn't like
Patapon.
it. It's again, it's a rhythm thing.
The last.
We had Knack 2. That's the launch title.
Which
first
I
one
think-
to get a sequel, I
I
believe.
think that's funny that's a thing. Apparently, it fixed a lot of things that were broken.
I like the original
from
Knack.
what-
I thought it was decent.
A lot of people thought it was more of a tech demo though than an actual game.
Right.
But apparently, they fixed a lot of things. From what I was listening from the people who were there covering it, that they fixed a lot of the issues so far, and hopefully, it won't be a running joke.
Yeah, sequel-wise, there was quite a few. We had Gravity Rush 2 as well, Noni Kuni 2, which a lot of
Gravity
anime
Rush 2
guys
comes
are going
out.
to be into.
It's probably out by the time this goes up.
Yeah, and they had that DLC with the other chick in it. I never played the first one.
DLC
so I
with the
don't
other
know.
chick.
Yeah.
Yo, your favorite character, that other chick.
There's like 3 Yakuzas coming out. There's Yakuza
Well,
2 Remake, Yakuza 6, and Yakuza Kiwami.
Aren't they all the same? I played a Yakuza.
They're
back in the day.
good,
They're all
but
the
I
same.
don't know. They're basically very similar. Danganronpa is finally going to get its PS4 debut, but also they're creating it for the Vita. And the guy that announced it kept making a kind of a point out of the fact that they were developing these games for Vita, which I thought was amazing.
Do you think that's because it's PSX? Because I doubt they'd do that at E3.
I think it's their way of slightly nodding and saying, hey, remember you guys thought we gave up on this? We're still doing things for it. But primarily we're doing the things that people love Vita for, which is JRPGs.
Which I understand kind of why they put their eggs in the PS4 basket, just because it's the big.
It's just
big
so
one right now.
popular in Japan. So they with the JRPGs, like they fucking love that in Japan.
I would love
So-
to have a Vita. I've never played with a Vita.
It's really cool.
I had a
I love mine.
I had a first gen PSP. Good old UMDs. Are they still UMDs?
I don't know. I mean, they were.
They were.
I think they made the PSP Go. Which
No, I'm
was
talking
the
about for
old
Vita.
digital
What does
version.
Vita use?
Oh,
for...
no, Vita uses cartridges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old UMDs sucked. That's why I never bought any games
they
for
were
it.
terrible, and they were noisy, too.
Yeah.
Near Automata, I don't know. Jordan's excited about that. He
Looks
told me
interesting.
that. It does look interesting, and also Pyre by the makers of Bastion and Transistor, Supergiant Studios, and that looks okay. Absolver was from Devolver Digital, which is a company.
Absolver Devolver.
Absolver from Devolver.
I know,
we played quite a few Devolver games in the past, so we'll take a look at that.
They're all right. I mean, they're not my type of games, but they're
Not
good at what they do.
But they are good at what they do. And the weird part was online melee action, so it sounds like an online kung fu game to me, but I'm not sure.
Is it in a kung fu game?
Hopefully better than that. Edith Finch made a little showing. That was cool. Yep. Let It Die was the free game of the show.
Let's talk about that, because I played it for a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
What the fuck is going on?
Weird Japanese
probably
game, right?
We're gonna no. I don't know if it was Japanese.
Pretty sure it is.
I didn't make it that far.
I watched the trailer and it looked Japanese.
Which trailer did you watch? There's like 3 different ones.
The one that they did at the show.
They get all fucked up.
Yeah.
It's just like, what? But no, so I was playing the game after it was announced the day after, and I was playing. I immediately texted you. I was like, we're going to record this because I don't know what the hell's going on, but we're going to have a lot of fun with it.
Right.
From what I gathered, you are a person in a subway system and things are attacking you, and you can get really cool weapons that you could...
Is it a skateboard game?
No, I thought it was.
It looked like a skateboard.
That's what I thought. There's a fucking skateboarding. There's a skateboarding Skelly man, but with weird glasses. But that's all I know.
Huh?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give the intro away here. Basically, you start on the intro. You choose male or female, and then you can choose skin color. And then after that, you get pulled off, and the Skelly man talks to you about it. He's like, "Hey, we got to go do this, bro." He has a skateboard accent or skateboard personality.
Skateboard accent.
Yeah.
Skelly bro with a skateboard accent.
Yeah. So Skelly bro
Some
comes and finds you.
Fantastic use of the English language coming out of this.
So I was like, okay, Skelly bro, we're gonna go hang out.
Okay, Skelly.
And he's like, go run down the hallway. And I'm going through the tutorial. And at some point, I'm like, oh, I'm fighting people. Why am I fighting people? I thought it was a skateboarding game. Nope. And then I get a fucking like meat cleaver and I start sawing people. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
But it's fucking fantastic. And I ate mushrooms at some point. That's an achievement. You eat 1,000 mushrooms.
That sounds like a game.
That's all I know. I'm sure there's way more to it. I didn't even make it out of the tutorial because I had to do some other things.
Exciting. I'm excited.
I can't wait for you to see it. You can't play it until we've recorded just so you can be like, what the fuck?
All right. I'll hold off.
But yeah, Skelly. It's not a Skelly Man skateboard game.
Skelly Man skateboard language. That's Let It Die. And then Windjammers, that little sort of 16-bit throwback frisbee game.
That is a Giant Bomb Insider joke for those of you who don't know.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yep.
And then 2 more to go. And then we're done. Starblood Arena, which was the kind of multiplayer VR game, which looks like just basically spaceships, like dogfighting. With tons of upgrades. It kind of, to me, I got a Rocket League-y vibe from it, because you can like collect all stupid things for your ship and stuff, but Rocket League in space, I suppose, and shooting people instead of scoring goals.
Yes. Before we go to the last one,
no pun intended.
I can do an honorable mention that was not actually in the keynote.
Go ahead.
But they were after the keynote. It's from Pride Slot Studios, former developers from, I can't remember what studio they came from in the UK, one of those big AAA studios.
We have a lot, yeah.
But it's called Chronicles. I'm going to say it wrong. Chronicles the Windcatcher. I'm going to look it up here. I've got it on my phone. Cloudcatcher something.
Something.
It's a long name. It's Yonder. YonderChronicles.com. It's loading, literally. Yeah. Yonder the Cloudcatcher Chronicles.
Yeah.
That's the word.
That's a lot of words.
I showed you the trailer for it today. You hadn't seen it yet.
Looks great.
Very fantastic art style.
Art style is beautiful. Reminds me of Rare. Early Rare,
which is I think why I like it.
Probably.
But that's like an honorable mention that sucks because it wasn't in the keynote. But as soon as that's why I recommend a lot of people just watch the keynote. Go on afterwards. Like I'll go search and be like every game announced at PSX, every game announced, because there's a lot of games that don't make it in the keynote that are there. So
and they had a lot of decent developer conference where they released little secrets and things as they were going on, and also they had that accessibility conference which you were a fan of.
I've watched
about accessibility.
75% of that, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So
I guess
but the last
let's
one,
get it out of the way.
What is the last one, Tom?
The last one is, of course, the gigantic reveal that blew people's minds, which was that they are working on The Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us Part 2.
Anyone that's played the original Last of Us will know how exciting that is.
So can we talk about how back in the day when I was a little boy Keegan and I got The Last of Us.
Did you grow up yet?
No.
Just
a little bit more.
Just making sure.
A little bit more.
You're teenage Keegan.
Yes. I had a PS4. I had some games, and then I played The Last of Us, and I went, oh shit, I texted you. Have we started level 2 at that point? We had to start level 2 at that point.
I don't know, but I remember
know.
you said to me, "What's an adult game I can play that's different to kind of some of the other stuff?" And I suggested it, and you were kind of interested in it anyway. You weren't 100% sure because this is a scary game, it's a spoopy game.
Yep. I still was scared
but you
by
played
it
anyway,
Yes.
because you were braver back then.
Yeah.
And it blew your mind a little bit, right?
It did. It made me rethink what a game should have been. Because again, at this point, I had not played Uncharted, which Last of Us obviously Uncharted. The connection there is obvious because Naughty Dog, but.
Right.
The visuals was the first thing that caught me. The story was just like, holy hell type thing. Like that intro sequence, I was so on edge during the intro sequence of like, what is like, part of me wanted to turn the game off because like, I don't like this. I don't like, as you know, I don't like this. But part of me was like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? And as I went along, it just got more and more. And I was like, it made me rethink what a video game should be from that perspective. Because again, I take video games as fun. Like, it should be a fun experience. Yes, there's some killing in games that is not fun, but it made me realize that not all games are fun for enjoyment. Well, that too, but fun for enjoyment reasons. That was fun because that story engaged me, and that story made me
that
kind
was
of think.
As close to video games making a movie.
Yes,
and they are making a movie apparently.
Yeah, called Last of Us 2.
Right. But they are. I think it's one of those games that even if you played Uncharted and stuff, Uncharted just felt kind of like a male version of Tomb Raider to begin with, and there is narrative there, which is why it took off a little bit better. But
I think it's funny that Tomb Raider and Uncharted just go back and forth.
Yeah, the second Uncharted was really the one that blew up the series. The first one was modicumly received.
So somebody who's only I've not played the third one.
Right.
I did play 4. Or most of 4.
4 was great. 4 was a good time.
I played 1, got frustrated, got halfway through. I was like, fuck this. But everybody kept telling me like, you got to play 2. Like 1, yeah, whatever, but play 2. So I started playing 2. I got it on PS Now back in the day when I had that, and it's a lot different. The first scene where you're just hanging off the fucking train, or whatever the hell that is, I was like, holy
really well
shit.
done.
Yeah. So that made me like, okay, the first one was good. This one's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So.
And won plenty of Game of the Years. But The Last of Us was one of those where they took the high-level concept of the type of narration and storytelling that they did for Uncharted, but instead turned their eye to something that was a lot more emotional in nature. And, zombie games, even zombie movies, TV shows, zombie things in general, have two main ways that they look at it. Either they look at it as like a fun way to destroy as many, like, zombies as possible. You're looking at your Dead Risings and things like that. Or they take it from the human aspect of surviving in a world that is a zombie apocalypse, as opposed to the zombies themselves, which are of course a nice scary backdrop, but it's more so a human tale than a horror tale. And Last of Us, I think, hit that on the head as far as like the relationship between Joel and Ellie. And a lot of people were surprised that the sequel featured Joel and Ellie because it tied up pretty nicely in the first one.
There's two things I want to say about this game. One, it is a direct sequel. It's Last of Us Part 2. So
not Last of Us 2.
Yeah,
Last
of
Us
2.
Part
It's not
2.
DLC. It's a standalone game. They said it's a standalone game. It's early in development. That's the second point I want to make. It is early in development. They did say that on stage. But the fact that it's Part 2 makes me excited because I was a little intrigued based on the ending. I'm not going to spoil anything, but what was going to happen next?
Right.
Like what happens now that all this has gone down?
Right.
There
are obviously a few questions remain, like does Ellie know what happened towards the end of the first game? If you've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, go fucking play it. But it's definitely interesting looking. I don't think anyone knew that was Ellie to begin with because they really did a great job of making her look older.
Yes.
They made her look a lot more like is it Tess, the other girl that was in that game? But the tattoo, I can already picture the thousands of girl gamers that are going to be getting that tattoo of the leaf on her arm. And I thought it was a guy when they started playing. I think that was kind of the ploy there was that everyone thought it was until she started singing. Beautiful song. And then of course Joel walks in and the whole trailer was beautiful. But
I think this is going to be. I don't think there'll be Last of Us 3. I think this is them since it's not called Last of Us 2. It's called Last of Us Part 2. I think this is Naughty Dog.
They might leave room for it. They might not. I don't think we'll know until we play it, honestly.
Yeah, I just think Naughty Dog... I think Naughty Dog, personally, from where they're at, because if you look at... It's not the same as Uncharted, but it's similar to Uncharted with the way it's made. I think
it's definitely a blood relative.
Yeah, so I think with Naughty Dog kind of finishing the Uncharted series the way they did, and then hopefully finishing this series. That
they
they're
haven't
gonna do something
abandoned
else.
Uncharted, but they have told different stories, or they are with the Uncharted Legacy. They are. Is it Legacy? Did I say that right? Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Yes.
Which
is a full game, by the way. It's not DLC.
Exactly. But it's kind of like a different take on that universe, which is a rich universe that they've cultivated. So it's only right that they're allowed to dig back into that.
Yeah.
But I think The Last of Us is something that they can take it too far. They can make too many of those and ruin the broth.
It's one of those things that game is so fantastic. But yes, it'll sell really well if you release another one, but you don't want to get to the point where you ruin the series.
You have to nail it. Like, there's not been more pressure put on a developer to follow up a title in a long time, because you're talking about most people's like absolute all-time favorite game, and definitely the showcase of what modern games can do. So a lot of pressure on. I would not want to be Naughty Dog Studios right now.
I really want to know what they're going to do after this, though. I
do trust them, though.
I do
want
them to go back and make
off.
a fucking cartoon. Ukulele's coming out. Naughty Dog Ukulele's coming out. I know you don't watch this, but Ukulele's coming out. Make a 3D platform for me, please.
Well, maybe they'll, maybe once they've kind of
even if it's just a B team
wrapped up Uncharted and Last of Us, they'll probably make a new IP. They may opt to do something a little bit more cartoony, or they may just do something entirely different.
Sly Cooper.
Yeah. I don't know. But that was a big one, and of course, people lost their shit when that trailer started, and it was
it's just a little teeny tiny.
A lot of people you can hear in the background getting mumblings. If you watch the first YouTube videos of it, they were from the conference, and they were you had the crowd reaction, and you can hear people kind of mumbling, "Is this Last of Us?
If you watch the Firefly on PlayStation, they have it on YouTube. They have that stream up there.
Yeah. And I do recommend watching it.
I do want to point something out. Going back to the Game Awards, did you see where the Game Awards got flagged for copyright ID?
No.
Yeah, they got flagged. So the day after the Game Awards happened, you could not. There's no audio on it because they got flagged for copyright.
Wow.
It's been fixed. YouTube, your system's broken.
That's
just
fine.
FYI.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was a good. A lot of shit happened.
Great couple days.
A lot of it is ways away, which doesn't.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as I like having sort of updates on development, but what I want to know is, I want to know that things are going smoothly and that it's not being rushed.
Yes.
And that's always my fear, is that a game gets rushed
and then gets delayed,
and then it's shitty and it comes out broken. And that happened a lot around the last couple of years. Ubisoft, and I just really
they nailed that one game.
Well, Ubi have done really
Siege.
well right now in recognizing their faults, and not only are they making up for it with a ton of free games,
except for fucking Steep,
but also they tried. They tried.
They failed miserably. I hate that game.
But I think that what I like about them is they've come out and said, we're going to give Assassin's Creed more development time. We're not going to do a yearly Assassin's Creed anymore. And they're noticing that extra time needs to be put into those games to make them, worthwhile.
Better.
So that was our sort of roundup on the Game Awards and the PlayStation Experience, which we wish we were at both. We were not.
Yes.
Maybe next year.
What was your guys' favorite moment from either convention? Or what game was announced that you're like, holy shit?
Yeah, what blew your mind from all the current things that are out there? Yeah, I forget that we're recording this too.
Hi. We can be on the internet. You can watch us on level2gamers.com. Or you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, and Stitcher, and everywhere else.
Guys.
Yeah, all those places.
So, great couple weeks.
It was only a week. Feels like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the E3 Indie PopCon back-to-back, where I was like, holy shit, I just got punched like 4 times. I'm like, am I here?
And there's still great stuff coming out. We still have like Horizon Zero Dawn to look forward to, and a couple other things. And
dude, Horizon is For Honor. I know a lot of people weren't hyped on that. It looked real stupid at E3, but I got into the alpha and into the...
And you enjoyed it a lot,
dude,
right?
It's fantastic.
Cool.
Like, I cannot praise that game enough for... It's really weird. It reminds me a lot like VR. Doesn't show very well. But holy shit, when you're fucking people up as a knight, do it. It's fun.
Okay.
So that's early next year there's a few games.
Yeah. And we're going to dig into them. We'll get there. It's nice for them to have the extra development time, but we expect them to be kind of...
I want it now. It's my game and I want it now. Yeah. Thanks, Miyamoto said something where like if you release a broken game, it's always broken.
Yeah. Nintendo, the experts of releasing
speaking of spring,
usually non-broken games.
Well, NX Switch.
Switch, yeah.
Coming next year.
I just really want 2016 to be the fucking over with at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
you posted something about Stephen Hawking being in the hospital.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking's been in the hospital for 2 days.
Freaking Alan Rickman died. Somebody posted a picture of everybody who died this year, and I was like, I forgot Alan Rickman died.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one that probably hurt me the most.
Yeah.
Prince, like, it's going to sound real bad. Prince, I didn't care because I'm not old enough to know Prince. But Alan Rickman is fucking Severus Snape.
I'm still mad about David Bowie.
Oh, I forgot about him, too. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That was like January, too.
Oy.
But yeah, so it's been a shitty year.
Been a decent
semi-decent for gaming.
I think
shitty for everything else.
It's been fantastic for Keegan gaming. Shitty or semi-decent for Tom gaming.
Yeah. But hopefully next year's another year, and things get
Hey,
better.
you got your Final Fantasy.
We still have.
Last Guardian's
I did
coming
get. Yeah, isn't it weird that those two games that were in development for like 9 and then 10 years each both came out within a week of each other?
I'm watching. I'm not going to buy Last
Incredible.
Guardian because I have no.
You know, I'm
thing,
not
but I'm-
either,
but I'm watching-
and
but I'm watching
I'm mad
I'm
that I
watching-
don't want to.
I'm watching what's his name?
Jacksepticeye. Yeah.
Play it. So
I'm
because he's super excited.
because I loved Eco. I loved Shadows of the Colossus more than anything, but pretty unimpressed with The Last Guardian. Looking at it so far, and
I don't
it
know,
definitely looks like a game from Team Ico.
Have you seen how Trico moves?
Yeah,
I think you would love the whole cat dog.
he is definitely adorable as a
Like,
character, but. Yeah.
I'm not going to give anything away at the beginning, but there's a moment in the beginning where I was like, what is happening? I thought
Yeah.
you're supposed to be a lovable, adorable character, and you're not.
So we'll see. I might pick it up on sale, but I won't be paying $60 for it. And I'm sorry, Team Eco. I just
watch our podcast last week on why.
Has not tickled
Yeah,
my.
did you give Tom? You didn't. Tom
feathers.
listed 3 things last week of why he wouldn't buy a game for $60, or what would make him buy a game for $60, and you didn't hit those 3 things.
Yeah, I did not hit those.
So,
But
yeah.
I will say, coming up for level 2, towards the end of the year, we have our top 5 roundup with some honorable mentions thrown in. We're going to have our good buddy Jordan join us for that, because Jordan loves nothing more than compiling lists. He is a list fiend.
Well, he texted both of us like 10. We're like 5.
Yeah, he came to us for that one. We're excited to have Jordan back on for a podcast because he hasn't done a proper podcast yet.
No, he was.
He was just helping us with the VR, so it'd be fun to have him on to talk about his games of the year, which are almost definitely going to be a little different to ours.
Dark Souls.
I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Dark Souls.
And
we should take bets. What do you think is this game of the year? I'm voting Dark Souls.
I don't know. I think he likes Final Fantasy.
I was gonna say Final Fantasy.
We'll see.
Yeah, I have not talked to him about Final Fantasy yet.
So yeah, that's coming up soon. Once again, we want to thank you guys for watching. If you're watching, thank you guys for listening. If you're listening, feel free to share if you like our podcast.
Follow us on Twitter
at
Level 2 Gamers STL.
All that fun stuff. Thumbs up, likes, stars.
It
Yeah,
used to be-
iTunes
so-
has stars, right?
Yeah, you can rate us on iTunes with stars.
Give us stars.
Do you do you remember back in the day when it was upvote downvote? You probably don't remember that.
That's Reddit.
Used to be it used to be the same thing on YouTube. No, it was favorited. It was favorite and something else. I mean, I can see the interface because that's when the crotch box became a thing, where the box is now underneath. Like, so the description used to be to the side of the video.
Right.
It's now underneath, so they call it's crotch box because it's in your crotch. Because most people shoot a video.
That makes sense.
Like right now, if you're looking at us, the description is in our crotches.
Yep.
If you're listening to us, this
Check
makes
out our
absolutely
crotches.
this makes absolutely no sense.
No, if you're listening to us, then good for you.
We're gonna end it. I'm gonna end it with this, but I really, and we talked about it before we started recording. I really enjoyed doing the podcast. I think this is probably one of my favorite things to do because this is the best moment for us to show who we are and kind of talk about games.
Good conversation to be had.
And I feel like we can focus on conversation because when you're playing a game and trying to talk, it doesn't go well.
Not at all.
And we can say whatever the hell we want on here.
That's true. It's
So fuck you, Tom.
It's been Jesus. It's been a lot of fun putting these podcasts together. We do know that there is some folks that listen to us, and we'd like to thank you for listening. The folks that watch us, thank you for watching.
If you want to give us, normally we do bonus level. If you want to give us a question, follow us on Patreon or support us on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/
Again, no
Level 2 Gamers
pressure.
Scale. Yeah.
We're fine either way, but we're doing pretty good.
I do want to point out that we did get our first Patreon supporter thing, and we have it coming. It won't be here for this podcast, but I ordered them yesterday. We've been having some mic audio issues. I'm sure you guys have heard it.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have noticed every once in a while there's like a
buzz
noise that comes up.
We have a couple things that
it'd be weird if that happened at the same time, wouldn't it? We won't know till after.
Yeah.
But but it kind of sucks and it's driving us crazy. And
So
we're big on our quality, so we have bought some little phantom power things.
Little phantom power thing, because the problem, our mixer does the phantom power, but I think there's just so much shit going on around it that doesn't know what to do. So we bought those. Hopefully that'll fix it. If not, we'll figure it out what's going on. But thank you guys for helping us get that, and thank you guys for watching and or listening and or whatever the hell you do with our videos.
And as always,
welcome to the second level. Maybe.
Bye.
Bye. That was a great show, wasn't it, Tom?
It's pretty
I
fun.
love listening to ourselves talk. If you're listening to us talk, there's a little bar that's probably going to show up right here in front of me somewhere. You can click on it. It'll take you to where you can find the iTunes podcast and listen to us without having to watch us. We definitely have radio faces.